Let's watch a CNN panel discuss some of the corruption we're already seeing at the highest level from Trump, as today's the Inauguration Day, including a virtual appearance into this panel from the great Catherine Rampell that does a really good job exposing him, starting with this discussion on his meme coin.
I think this is a massive scam of his own followers who are buying nothing, essentially, in the hopes that there will be a greater fool down the line to buy more. And right now, look, it's worth a lot, but they still need to be able, if people want to cash out, they need to find a greater fool who will pay more. On the other hand, maybe they're somewhat shielded from downside losses because there will be a reliable source of individuals, companies, and foreign governments that see buying these coins, these tokens, as a very convenient way to pay off the president for favors. You know, if you're the Saudi government, you no longer need to pretend to stay at a Trump hotel in order to give money to Donald Trump, to bribe Donald Trump. You can just show your digital wallet, and that is sufficient.
And MAGA turning around to defend this only further shows how they have no actual morals or ethical standard that they hold all sides to objectively. It's literally whatever will hurt the Democrats, right? They tried to lambaste Democrats for insider trading on Nancy Pelosi, which is terrible. Fuck Nancy Pelosi, right? I can say that. But when Trump does something that is not only insider trading, but worse because it's insider trading utilizing other people's money to make your profit knowing they're going to get scammed, Trump got into this coin at $0. As CoffeeZilla reports, he holds one wallet, holds over 80% of the coin, meaning that he did this to artificially raise the price, where others are now going to buy in as he's like a big enough name that when he promotes something, people are going to buy into it, which will force the price to further go up, where he can then just rug pull the 80% he holds, which will drop all of the price from where people have been buying in. All the people who bought in after him will lose the money. And he makes massive profit from it. If it was a legitimate crypto project, one wallet would not hold 80%. That does not happen in legitimate crypto projects. Go look at Bitcoin, go look at Ethereum, go look at any of these, right? This is, again, just how you artificially boost these prices when you plan to do a rug pull. It's literally cut and dry. And he's just hoping for the fact that most people don't really know how crypto works because it's not that mainstream. Luckily, I do. So you guys aren't getting scammed. I mean, you guys aren't buying things from Donald Trump anyway, I'm sure. But Catherine is also spot on about her point on foreign governments. Trump took over $7 million from them last time around, where they had to pretend to be using his hotels and such, where even if they actually were, this is still unethical. This is why Jimmy Carter sold his peanut farm, right? But now they can just do so much more anonymously, as it's harder to track wallets back to who they are, and like you have to really know what you're doing. And I mean, the fact he's even doing this is extremely corrupt, but you get who you elect, I guess.
For you to talk about grifters, you work for Biden and Harris. I just have to ask you, what services and goods did the Bidens provide for all the money that Hunter and family made over the years? Did you consider that grifting, or did you consider that productive commerce?
Actually, Scott, you should actually answer. You should be the one answering that question, because if you're saying that
she called him, she said called him the grifter in chief.
Scott,
this man has been a businessman and a brand for decades.
I'm saying from your perspective, if I were you and I were like you, up in arms about Joe Biden and the influence of foreign governments, et cetera, I would also be up in arms about this. Why aren't you?
You guys are claiming things that I don't know are true. You're saying he could be bought. Foreign governments might do this.
He's making money right now.
Exactly.
Right now. He's making money right now.
So what? He is a private businessman and has been his entire life.
This is exactly what I mean being shown to us in real time. There's no consistency here. MAGA is saying Hunter Biden's a huge problem, making this money from foreign entities, despite actually being a private citizen with no connection to the government. However, Trump, as the incoming president, isn't a huge problem if he makes money from foreign entities because he's a private citizen. These people haven't even fleshed out their own ideas well enough to be able to defend them. They just, by instinct, want to defend Trump and contradict themselves doing so within seconds. If he has no problem with private businessmen making money from foreign entities or governments, there would be no problem with Hunter, who was a private businessman. Also, because he's trying to do the gotcha here at the beginning, Hunter was investigated for 8 years. No wrongdoing was ever found. No connection to Joe Biden was ever found. No charges were ever brought. Trump, however, was found liable for fraud within months of an investigation, and the House found within months of an investigation that he took over $7 million from foreign governments while president.
He put out a statement indicating that the United States would have a 50% ownership stake, which I and many others have interpreted to mean the US government. So that means a Chinese company owns 50%, or a Chinese company plus its shareholders, and the US government owns another 50%, which sure sounds like nationalizing a media company, which is kind of an odd move for a president, especially a Republican president. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, including on this show, I have debated with people about whether President Biden was socialist, but I do not remember President Biden ever threatening to nationalize a gigantic tech company. That is quite literally the definition of socialism, you know, the state owning the means of production, or in this particular case, the means of production. But that sure is what it sounds like.
She is a little off in what she's saying here, but that technically is the definition of one form of socialism, which makes it even more hilarious that Trump yelled about socialism and communism and the Democrats all on the campaign trail, as he then comes in and says, let's do socialism on day one. But hey, I mean, if Trump can get MAGA to root for socialism, I'm not going to hate on him. If he can get MAGA to root for nationalizing a major private corporation, I'm all for it, brother. MAGA, make America, let's not go that far, right? But it just makes two things really funny. One, the fact that he definitely doesn't know what socialism or communism means, right? Like I said this every time he would say this on the campaign trail, and I was absolutely right in that regard. There's no way he knows what it means and would say all that vitriolic things about it and then turn around and do it. And two, again, MAGA literally holds no principles. Even down to socialism, the thing that they stake their brand on. They're down for it as long as it votes the color red in the election. That, or they also probably don't know what it means, if I'm being honest. Like most MAGA I've talked to have no idea. They just use it for a catch-all term for economic or cultural things that they don't like, or countries that they think are bad, so they can say, ha, socialism bad, despite there not being any communist countries. There hasn't been in 40 years. Arguably, you could argue there's never been a full communist country, never been a full socialist country. The closest thing would be like the Nordic nations, but I digress.